So today we're going to look at healthcare flow rates. Before we get started, you might consider going to look at your student resources and looking over dimensional analysis, equivalent fractions, multiplying and dividing fractions, ratios and fractions, and rounding and estimation. You choose which direction you do this. To look at them before you start this lesson, or during or after, or maybe a combination of all of the above. Go ahead and pull out your healthcare flow rates worksheet. We're going to work a few of these. We'll work them together, but then you need to internalize them. So pay attention to what we're doing, go back, stop the video, look at the details, and then do it by yourself from start to finish. No looking at notes. So let's start looking at the first one. We are going to do problem number 1 together. And again, like I mentioned in the other video, we may not know what all of the abbreviations stand for. We don't know all of those details. Those are details you would learn inside the medical profession. We are looking at some basics and how to get the accurate number, which is very important. So I'm going to start with the patient's order is for 1,000 milliliters of something. It's going to be infused over 8 hours. They're going to use a macro drip chamber calibrated for 15 GTTS over or per milliliters. And then what's the rate of flow in the GTTS per minute? So I'm going to use dimensional analysis because when we get done, we want to know how many GTTS per minute. And again, I don't know what that is. Somebody does, but I can do the math part. I'm going to go ahead and focus this one more time. I can do the math, and it's going to look something like this. When we go to do dimensional analysis, we're going to have a fraction, a fraction, a fraction. We might have 3, we might have 4. We're going to build as many fractions as we need to kill out the units that we don't need and preserve the units that we do need. We are going to need, wow, I'm looking here at milliliters and it's not even in the answer. Hours that we may use, this, let's go ahead and start with that. Let's start with that I've got 15 GTTS per milliliter. Okay, I don't have milliliters in the answer. I have milliliters where I'm starting. Let's go ahead and kill and put this 1,000 milliliters up top. I like to mark my units out as I go along to help me know if I've put the number in the correct top or bottom numerator denominator. And in this case, everything's looking great. My milliliters are gone. My GTTS, they're still there, but I'm missing some minutes. I do have a unit that has hours, and it says that this 1,000 milliliters is going to be infused over 8 hours. And another word or way to say that is 1,000 milliliters per. And that gets me my division bar, 8 hours. Well, that's pretty exciting, but I don't need GTTS per hours. I need GTTS per minutes. And so if I need to kill these hours, then I can think for every 1 hour, okay? If I need minutes, then for every 1 hour, its equivalent would be 60 minutes. And then, all of a sudden, this is looking great, that our hours are gone, milliliters are gone, and what we have left are GTTS per minute, and that's exactly what we need. So the reason I asked you to look back over some of these resources is because you need to know how to multiply fractions. We can do some reducing, but if this is a part that you're allowed to use your calculator, then we're going to put, we're going to put all of this in the calculator. We'll use parentheses. And anything times 1 is still going to be itself, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to throw that in the calculator. And all of this division bar means divide. It's called a vinculum. And we're going to divide by, and I'll need to use some parentheses, or do 8 times 60 in my mind, that is 480. But I'll go ahead and show you the long way, and here we go. So in my numerator, and hit clear a bunch, actually cut it on, and hit clear a bunch, and I've got 15 times 1,000. And I'm actually even going to be more lazy, not even not about times 1,000, not even use parentheses, because once I hit the equals, that just took care of my parentheses. But when I go to do divide by, I've got to be smarter than my calculator and tell it, okay, what we're going to divide by needs to be everything in the denominator, and that's the 8 times the 60, and I get 31.25. But wait, 31.25, 31 and 25 hundredths. And it says they want us to round to the nearest whole number. And so the nearest whole number is right here to the left of the decimal. And so when I look at my 2 says the 1 stays the same, and everything after the 1 becomes a 0. So to finish my answer to the nearest whole number, I need 31 GTTS, and I can leave it like this per minute, or I can be a little bit more specific and say for every 1 minute. So you can leave your answer written like this, or you could call it 31 GTTS per minute. This is a great time to stop the recording, go back over the notes, go back over what you wrote down, what I was talking about, and it would even be a great time to go ahead and use your piece of paper and try to do it from start to finish all by yourself. I'm going to do 2 more of these. I'm going to go on down to number 4. When I go on down to number 4, it says, your patient's IV order states that she is to receive 1,000 milliliters over 8 hours. And it's always good to remember what you did and to replicate that, but then it doesn't always turn out the same. But we might go ahead and do that, 1,000 milliliters for every 8 hours. When I keep reading, it says the drop factor is 10 GTTS per milliliter. I may need that. And then it wants to know how many milliliters per hour. Wait, what? How many milliliters per hour? That's what I already have. If that's what I already have, I'm basically done. And it says round to the nearest whole number. Well, I'm going to take my clear, 1,000 and divide it by 8, and I get 125, which is a whole number. I'm going to have 125 milliliters per hour. I'm done. But I would stop the video. I'm going to get my little speaker thing off of there. I hope that wasn't there the whole time, but probably it was. And so looking at this one, 125 milliliters per hour, that's what it wanted. Round to the nearest whole number. We're done. Moving on. I want to now look at question 5, and this is our last one together. It says that the patient's IV is ordered at 1,000 milliliters D5-LRIV, whatever all of that is, to run at 125 milliliters per hour. And then it says, how long? How long? I got to think on that for a second, because how long? How long means my answer should be in minutes. That's a how long, 5 minutes. It could be in hours. It could be in days, years. So in the end, I need how long. I need something that involves time. So I'll go ahead and start that my dosage is 100 milliliters. I'm sorry, 1,000 milliliters. And so I'm going to think on that for a second because I don't have per 8 hours, but I'd like to put something. So I'm just going to go ahead and say per dose. That's something worth trying. And then I have this 125 milliliters per hour, and I need to end up with something where I equal a how long. So I'm going to use pencil, because what we did a while ago is we put this 125 milliliters per hour up here. We had 1,000 milliliters per hour. We had this as it was, GTTS per milliliter. We had this as it is, 1,000 for every 8 hours. But when I get to this one, I'm given my milliliters. And when I get done, I need hours or minutes. I have an hours, but it can't stay in the denominator. And as it is, these milliliters won't kill side by side The milliliters would have to be in the denominator, so I'm going to do its reciprocal. I'm not going to put it the way it's written. I'm going to put it the way I need it, which is very legal. So this says I need 125 milliliters for every hour. I can also say for every hour, I need 125 milliliters. And I'll go ahead and put the S like the other one has. Wow, this is amazing. Because then my milliliters are gone. I end up with an hour. An hour is how long. I'm basically done. I got to take this 1,000, divide it by the 125. Oh, I bet I can guess this one. But I'm going to pretend I didn't see that. And I'm going to say 1,000 divided by this 125, and it's going to take, wow, 8 hours. Again, I would encourage you to stop the recording, go back and look at this one, make sure you've got good notes and that you understand the pieces and parts. And then I would redo this problem from start to finish all by myself. This concludes the lesson on healthcare flow rates.